Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome inside the studio. Chad Rosemike here to host the pregame show on this Friday night as we kick off the weekend, and we welcome summer officially. Is here, even though the NA Cup is kind of our unofficial kickoff to summer. Now the calendar says that it is summer here. So enjoy it. We've got some hot weather coming. I know even our friends at Woodbine already have delayed their post time on Sunday. That's when the real heat wave's supposed to come in. They've pushed their post time back to 4 o'clock. So if you are a fan of the Thoroughbreds and you play along, take note of that this coming Sunday, where the Woodbine T-Breds will be starting a bit later. Let's bring in racing analyst John Rallis back at it here tonight, Johnny. We've got 10 here this evening with a pretty good-looking card under some conditions where, yeah, although it's not really sun shining, that's maybe a good thing because, again, we're going to be dealing with some heat coming up. Yeah,
it's going to be like you touched on that delayed post time for Sunday, and I'll be spending some time in the air condition on Sunday, that's for sure. I'm not going to mess around with no heat.
Yeah, all next week, really.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really hot. But I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to tonight's Gold. Mm-hmm. I think there's parity in the trotting division and the for the Colts and the Fillies for the 3-year-old side, and I just don't know who's going to kind of take the reins as the best one. I know Richie Rich so far looks really sharp going into Monday's Gold, but tonight, I mean, we thought it was going to be Mona Lishi's division to lose, didn't we? And it just hasn't been the case so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. It still could be, or it could be somebody else that just kind of takes away. Who knows? But right now, at least on paper and what we've seen, it looks like it might just be a division that they're going to kind of trade blows throughout, which I think that's pretty good.
No, I do.
Right?
And you see some other like newcomers, right? We touched on it yesterday. Stormont Beautiful.
Yes.
She's going to try her hand on the Gold. Sprite Sealster, who was a winner last time out, she draws the outside again. And Roxy Hart, one that we keep saying is sitting on a Gold victory, and she draws well here tonight. It's just a really deep field. I spread in that pick 5, in that final leg of the pick 5, because I just didn't know which direction to go.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if Roxy Hart does not come away with a Gold win this
I
season
would
at some point.
Yeah, I think, but you could probably say the same about several in the division as well. Foxy Amy, one that I pegged on top here this evening. I think there's a reason they're putting her up in the Gold. I know she was a runner-up to Mona Lishi last year as a freshman. She's one that I think could continue to take a step forward here, and a really good pickup by Doug McNair this evening.
Last night, we had 10 dashes on the program. We knew that the previous 24 hours, the track had taken on a bunch of rain. It was still a fast condition. They were going over it pretty well, and other than the finale, I mean, you needed to be up close again at 3/4. That seems to be the theme. Other than the odd one, you need to be up close.
Now, do you know that I think there's certain nights where you look at this graphic and you figure, like you said, you need to be up close. I think the one thing that we saw a common theme of all night with last night's card is I think the best horses found themselves on the lead for the duration of the card. So while this might look like there was a bias, I do think that every horse that was on the lead was probably the one to beat or figured greatly. Yeah,
and there was a couple of prices that came through last night. Some heavy favorites went down in defeat. Not necessarily any fault of their own. A Nightingale, I know you gave out some great information on that from Susie Kerwood, a horse that, maybe needed one, but she might not have needed to be at her best to win in there, but then Jody had a tire pop, right?
Yeah, tire pop. So, I mean, you kind of wondered, even if the horse needed to start, you kind of wondered that maybe why didn't Jody pull? I got a chance to talk to him afterwards, and tire pop. I mean, he knew right away he just didn't have anything to offer. And it makes sense because late in the stretch, you could see she offered no trot whatsoever, but it was by virtue of that broken equipment.
Yeah, and I wonder too, I mean, is there maybe some sickness because it's common to be going around. We see some scratch sickness tonight, but, call you up for Luke Blais. Didn't really fire. And then Lasting Dream, I mean, they went in 54 in a piece, was still right there, but she really should have won that, I thought, rather handily.
Yeah, she really should have won it handily. And I got a chance to catch up with Louis too after the race, and he probably expected a bit more pop from her. But one thing he did say is she just feels so much better coming into this year. So still a filly that they're expecting big things from. And we know that Luke will get them.
I was just gonna say, even if there's anything amiss, he's on it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, no, very good. Okay, we got a bunch of replays that we're gonna dial up here tonight on the 10 race card. We've got that Gold, we've got the Fillies and Mares Preferred coming up later on, and then just a solid undercard as well. So let's start things out on the opener. $75,000 guaranteed in this early pick 5. We are down to a field of 9 with Prosciutto scratched on the inside. Darlene's Angel getting the early support, and I guess not real surprising considering, although Forever After All was a pretty handy winner here on Monday. This one rallied really well on the end of it. That's a big back half for her.
Big back half on a night where front end speed really favored on that evening. So for her to pace a big back half and for her to gain from where she was early on in the mile. I think that's a really good effort, but we've seen that kind of from her in the past. That's the thing. We've seen some really good efforts, and then she'll follow that up with a clunker. So I figured she would get over bet in this spot, despite the performance she put forth last time out, but still one that I rated highly because we're going to see exactly why here, and you could see the move that Tyler Borth is going to make here right towards the end of the mile, and you can see he's going to get a chance to angle out late, and when he does get that opportunity to angle out late, he's going by every single horse to his inside. So you could see Forever After All, James McDonald, an easy winner. Outside draw wasn't going to be a problem for her, but who's moving best of them all, Chad, late in the mile? It's Tyler Borth and the Victor Putty trainee, Darlene's Angel, and that's why we see her currently as the 9-5 favorite in this Non-Order 2 event tonight.
Yeah, and and right back after that effort, I don't mind that. It's been a few days, but she hadn't raced in a couple of weeks going into that start, right? She had almost 2.5 weeks off in between, so this will be just fine for her, I think.
Yeah, and I think I'm really curious to see what we're going to see off the gate. We haven't seen so much early gate speed from her, but I think that off an effort like that, we do see guys typically want to kind of put them in play a little bit more and have them situated a little bit closer. I think that's going to be the case with a couple other fillies in here as well.
Yeah, I wonder what we're going to see from Wicked Cruiser. Yep. We know she's more talented than what she showed in her first couple of starts this year. Obviously, something's not been right with her. She missed some time. She came back. Qualifier was all right.
Yeah, it was all right, and obviously Todd opted for a different rival there who's going to be scratched here, Prosciutto. She's been racing really well, too. She's been right there just about every start, some unlucky trips as well, but good draw to work with Jody Jamieson. You have to figure that she's going to be put in play. I think she just needs to find a little bit more. I'm curious to see what we're going to see from her tonight, but one that I'll monitor going forward.
Yeah, and Tyler sticking to Darlene's Angel. A lot of times he sticks to Candy Kiss, so I think it speaks volumes again who he really likes in there. Over to race number 2 is where we head next. A nominators of 1 bunch here, group of 7 that are going to line up. The equipment break on backup plan, I can't remember. Was it a hobble?
It was a tire. The tire.
Oh, it was a tire?
Yeah, the tire pop.
Oh, okay. I just remember he got pulled up, early on there when Dougie drove. Louis going to be aboard because came in with a pretty good qualifier in the middle of May, but now getting a bridle change here too. So Dave's going to tinker anyway. Yeah.
So the broken equipment obviously charted with the flat tire there, as Garnet also mentions here in the Horse Players Journal, and took support in that first start. Though we saw the other Dave Maneri trainee coming from Hut Racing stable. They went to Dave Maneri, Park Avenue Janet, who's in to go Monday. So we saw 2 Dave Maneri trainees making their career debuts off a trainer change, and one obviously suffered the broken equipment, and the other one was a dominant winner. So you have to figure this one's going to take a lot of support. With nothing going amiss here tonight, he's going to be a main factor. But I think the one next door to him, a couple spots down, the Rider. I think that one's sitting on a pretty good effort tonight as well.
Yeah, and we've got the replay of that June 13th outing, so let's kind of work things out. I mean, he came here with only a couple of starts under his belt, winning efforts, albeit at Georgian and the Raceway in London. Typically a front-end horse. And, now you're going to a bigger track. Tough to come here and chop it. Yeah. Because with your first time here, when you spin for home, that's a long stretch. But I thought, although he was aggressive early, then was able to kind of follow on. I mean, the Rider, again, hadn't raced in over 2 weeks, but to come away with the 52 mile, I think the Connections are pretty happy with this experience he got.
And I think the Connections kept the hold of this guy for as long as they did, given the limited starts in, 3 years, or as a four-year-old. I think there's a reason. They see that there's talent there. That was a big mile. It was used hard a couple times in that effort. Looked like for a second didn't have a seam up the inside, but the front 2 just kind of got away from him. But again, that's a 52-mile, Chad, right? I mean, that was a pretty big effort there. Middle of the gate draw. I think that mile on the big track, dropping some time, I think that's really going to, bode well for him. I think he's going to, getting acclimated here on the big track is going to really benefit too. And I think he's sitting on a big effort. I think that kind of mile is really going to help him. And I got a chance to speak to Daryl Thiessen, and, he said that he had lots left in that dominant victory at London when he got a chance to sit behind him on May 27th. So he thinks he's going to handle the transition to the big track just fine. And if that first start was any indication, I think he could take a step forward here tonight.
And another one coming into the same race in John Hill. I think another one that he's going to be better because of the experience he got here.
Absolutely. And he missed a month in between that effort. Obviously, a second time now for trainer Kyle Fellows. So one that I think has a license to improve as well.
Yeah, definitely. Trevor going to stick with that one as well. So that's a look at race number 2. Race 3 is the Pick 4 kickoff here, as we have got leg 2 of the pop-up series for the Fillies and Mares. Numbers of 30,000 this year. To get into this spot, we've got a group of 8. Job Hunter starting to roll for, her Connections with back-to-back wins. She's obviously going to be one that, you look at with a lot of respect. Few doors down. Joining it now, Style for a Mile. I mean, she's got a lot of back class.
This is the softest group she's taken on in quite some time, though. things haven't really got worked out in her favor. I know she made a miscue 2 starts back. I believe it was somebody. I think it might have been somebody was going to the whip and maybe kind of interfered her when she was towards the back, and it kind of affected her 2 starts back.
I know it was rare for her to make a break.
I think she kind of got bothered by that whip by a rival in front of her, and then last time out just had too much work to too much ground to make up. She still paced home in sub 27, but again, one that we know, as good as she is though, Chad, and as capable as she is in the spot, she has burned money in the past as well. So I think one of them is a buyer beware candidate, right? I know she's capable, but one that I think I'm going to try and beat. I won't use her in my pick 5 tickets. I will try to the outside, Miss Chantilly. Okay. I think that was a good effort from her last time out. We saw Robert Cooper send a couple over here to Rick Zeron, and I thought both of them one of them probably didn't put forth an effort that was too inspiring, but this one I thought was a sneaky good effort. And I came on air saying to Randy, I was shocked that Doug McNair went to this mare over Madrid, who I thought was coming in a little bit sharper. We could see here this effort. I thought it was a good one here, Chad. Doug McNair right on the pylons there, and you could see her just kind of looking for room. They're giving her a nice easy trip, but she's gaining forward on that bunch. You could see the front 2 are kind of getting away from them. A job hunter obviously getting the job done, tripping herself out in what was a tougher spot. But look at Doug McNair and Miss Chantilly behind rivals. She had some pace up the inside there. I liked how she finished late in that mile, and I think now Doug McNair's got a chance to sit behind her. Outside draw to boot, yes, we know that, but I think that he's going to be more confident with her coming into tonight, and one that I'm really excited to see, and I think this one's worth a good look here.
And another week for Rick to get her on his training program isn't going to hurt her any.
No, and Got Sexy Scars, one that we're going to see later on. We see the equipment changes, one that I know is capable of a better effort than we saw last time out. So I'm going with a couple of the new Rick Zeron recruits and just kind of hoping that they can bounce back second time in his barn.
Yeah, and this might be one, because she doesn't show a ton of leaving speed, where she could find herself maybe following Style for a Mile. I won't be surprised if Style for a Mile is doing this first over. She too doesn't love to just be kind of gun and run.
It's funny because when Doug used to drive her consistently when she was in Greg's barn too, she did her best work on the engine.
She could do speed,
right?
yeah.
And then
she's been reprogrammed almost.
Reprogrammed, exactly. Yeah. So ever since being in Dave Maneri's barn, she's been doing it off the pace, and she's been having success doing it. She's been making up a lot of ground. I worry with Miss Chantilly, though, where's she going to get away from the outside, because I see a lot of speed to her inside. That could be a bit of an issue there.
Mind you, the easier bunch could get her back to doing speed Style for a Mile.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And she's probably going to be a heavy favorite, too.
She will be. She'll take the bulk of the support because, like we said, the easiest spot she's been in quite some time.
Race 4 to start the Pick 6 wager. That's where we head to next. Last night we did have a carryover. It did go. Although there were some favorites in there, still paid pretty good.
It paid great.
Right?
I think it was just
for $1.
Just shy of 600 for 20 cents. So about maybe 2,800 or 28 and change. I thought it paid super. It was a lot of horses that figured, right? The last 2 winners, even money 1-5, and it still paid pretty well. I mean, maybe the Green Book was one that knocked out a lot of money there, third choice.
Based on a morning line odd too, wasn't it? And the Bob McClure one that was 10-1 morning line.
Yeah, but I believe still took a lot of money in some pick 3s and whatnot there too. One we expected was going to take lots of support though.
Fillies and Mares on the pace here for the kickoff for the Pick 6. Now winners of 6,500 in their last 5, and Randy Waples again, hoping to see him back tomorrow. These are some replays that he just wanted to kind of send in and have a look at. Kalina Diamond is a horse that he wants to focus in on. She just sort of came back, into things, just getting her legs back underneath her, and based on the most recent start, I know it was a drop down, but it looks like she's going in the right direction.
Off that effort, you would have to think, and that was a really unlucky trip. You could see JD pointing her forward off the gate, and unfortunately, J.R. Plant wanted to get aggressively handled his mare, and unfortunately, sometimes when a mare that you're following just doesn't have much pace to offer, you get put in a really bad spot, and you could see right now he's stuck behind J.R. Plant, and J.R. Plant during the stretch drive, when we get there, you're going to see her start to go backwards, and JD does have a chance. Maybe he wants to pull first over, but it's still a little bit early on in this mile, and he just gets caught in. And, unfortunately, J.R. Plant's chart just couldn't keep going. And just look at her right now. I mean, JD's got a good hold on her. You could watch his body language with this mare the entire way. And, things are going south at this point. I mean, just tough sledding. And late, you'll see at the top of the lane, just late in the stretch, she had so much pace to offer, Chad. And just no real estate. It was a really tough trip, and she deserved a lot better there.
Mm-hmm. What's the connection with Got Sexy Scars, Jared and Robert Cooper? I'm assuming they're related.
Yeah, they are. I believe it's a father-son. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
yeah,
one that I think I liked her effort on May 30th at the Meadowlands. I thought it was a sneaky good effort, but she did take on maybe a tougher group when she came here to Woodbine Mohawk Park, and things didn't really work out. Trevor still got aggressive with her. She just didn't finish up as well as I would have liked.
Rick makes changes, though, right?
Rick made some changes there, too. You get James McDonald aboard here, so one that I think can definitely bounce back. One we're familiar with, too. We've seen her race here in Canada, I believe, a few years ago as well. I can't remember who was training her in the past, but she was here before.
I do remember, though, yeah. No,
so
I do remember
one that
her.
I think could improve. Again, didn't race in 2 weeks. Who knows when they shipped in? Who knows how long Rick had both of these mares or a few of these mares in his care? And again, you can't get any worse from that kind of effort. I think that there's only going up from here.
Did you use Miss Dutton at all? Because I think she can improve in here.
I used her underneath, and like you said, I think now obviously second start in the new barn. She missed some time. I do think that she can improve some, but there's just a couple.
Okay.
She was okay. She was fine. I just prefer a couple others in this spot, but definitely she can take a step forward as well.
All right, that's fourth race. Kickoff to our pick 6. Let's move on. Race number 5 is where we head to next on this Saturday. I'm already getting to Saturday. How about the Friday 10-pack? This is the feature. Leg 2, one division, just like it was in the opening leg, $140,000 for the Ontario Sire Stakes. 3-year-old trotting fillies. And, last year it was a dominant performance put up by Mona Lisa throughout the season. She was, the champion here. So far this season, she's still been there. But whether it was, have others caught up or, has she maybe been fighting some stuff? I don't know. But I won't be surprised in the least if she all of a sudden whips it right back around and starts winning in bunches. Or is this just going to be one of these wide open divisions for the year?
Yeah, I think it could be a wide open division. And maybe she was battling something. Maybe she ends up winning this gold and we get a chance to speak to trainer Blake McIntosh and he kind of reveals a couple of things that she's been dealing with. But I didn't use her in my pick 5 ticket, not because of the talent. I'm just trying to look for some price options there. I am going to go back to Green Glider on my ticket. But Foxy Amy is one that I really think, Chad, that was such a good effort last time out on a grassroots starter affair. James McDonald took over the lines and she's in this spot for a reason because I think she's competitive enough to, I think she can really compete against this group. So James is going to opt for Mona Lisa, which didn't surprise me.
No.
But Doug McNair, I think
lateral
this is
move.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good pickup for Doug McNair. And Foxy Amy, we saw her competitive against the Gold fillies last year. She's right back here in a spot where she definitely belongs. Yeah,
we're going to, the lone replay that we're going to show to kind of make a case for one of them in here is Roxy Hart. Yep. Now, Roxy Hart, she's got a more recent date than some of the other top gold ones in here because she ended up racing her numbers at 3. And I think it's maybe a good thing for her because it boosts her confidence. She sort of bucked the trend. She was, I think, the furthest one off of the pace to win this night. It was right off the bat. And then she does it with throwing a shoe at some portion in this race.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, she was training towards a big effort. And, I mean, I did pick against her in this spot, just wondering maybe what kind of trip is she going to get. But as you watch throughout the night, this effort was even more impressive, given what you just said. Nobody was winning really off the pace all night. So she's been flashing late trot, Chad, all season long, and we touched on it at the start of the show. She's inching closer towards a gold victory. She was really sharp last time out. That was just a big mile that Sprite Sealster put forth, and she ended up being second best in that affair. But middle of the gate draw. Just curious to see, are we going to see her kind of float out of there and get a better spot off the gate? Because I think this group is so good that you don't want to be too far back. As good as she's been late in the miles, you still don't want to make up too much ground against a group like this.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think it's going to be dependent on what's going on outside, right? We know Tyler can leave with Sprite Sealster if he wants to, but she can also do it from off the pace, so he's probably going to be looking to his left and saying, well, I mean, if there are 4 or 5, 6 of them leaving out of there, if there are, I'm going to have to kind of float. A Stormont Beautiful, she can leave too. She
can leave, yeah.
If she wants to. Louis can get out of there, so it's going to be, early on, it's going to be a driver's race there to kind of see where they're positioning.
And lucky for her, she gets to draw inside of a couple horses that could kind of, put a wrinkle in the race from the outside if they elect to leave. So just going to be interesting to see what kind of trip she works out, but she's certainly going to be heard from late.
It's going to be a fun one, I think.
Absolutely.
All right, that's race number 5, our feature. Let's go to race 6. Late pick 5 gets underway here with a group of 7 fillies and mares pacers. Numbers of 15,000 last 5. I saw John Pentland outside. He said, unfortunately, Sorcia Sealster, she's just had a week where she hasn't quite been herself, so she's dealing with a little bit of sickness. She'll get tonight off, and they'll try to, treat her up and get her back healthy. To be able to race, on full form. But he's really happy with the way that she's come back as well. So excited about her. But, these are mares that we know we're likely going to see some of them back at the top class. in the coming weeks, when they get the form going, is it going to be a tells in a roll maybe again? I think Ken Susie's charged One Last Wish. She's getting back into the, swing of things. Lions better day, perhaps. It's a nice bunch.
It really is. And I think it makes sense that John said maybe she's dealing with some things, because as good as she, third place effort last week, I still expected her to go by setting a precedent in that spot. She still worked out a pretty good trip. She did have some good pace on the end of it, did Sorcha Sealster, but I think given the mare that we know she can be and what we've seen at the end of it, I expected her to be at least second best to Angostura last time out.
Yeah. So again, they're going to treat her up for a minor infection here and hopefully have her back going. We do want to have a look back at One Last Wish's most recent. So, she was in the States in the, Blue Chip Matchmaker. It's a tough series. It's grueling, right? Mm-hmm. And it can take a lot out of you. You need some time, and that's what Ken did when she came back here. She got a little bit of time off. She's now had 3 starts, and I mean, all of them have actually been solid. She's moving well on the end of the mile, and that's what you want to see.
That's the biggest thing. I think you can kind of scratch that. That first effort was a little bit of a tough ass. She was coming back from Yonkers, like you said, back on Canadian soil, and I think she needed that start. But she hasn't really gotten clear racetrack in her last 2 efforts, and she took support on this evening, Chad. And you could see Louis Watt angling her out late, and she's moving really well on the end of it. That's Angostura Hanover was a strong winner, setting a precedent, and Sorcha Sealster. But she kept gaining forward. It's not really what we've seen from her. I know Kenny used to say that she loves when she's got a target to chase, but she's shown versatility. I think the scratch is going to help her. She can get away in a pretty good spot. I think now this is the night where you want to be a little bit more aggressive with her. She's had a couple of nice tighteners under her belt since she's been back here in Canada. I think now is the time where you kind of want to say, okay, I can give her a little bit of a go. I think those were educational miles or maybe kind of, easy trips per se. And tonight I think she's sitting on a big effort this evening.
It tells on a roll. We give her a pass. It was a victim of a tough trip.
Yeah, first over. And she's still trying to find her way back. That was a nice confidence boosting win, 2 starts back. So we know the talent is there to put forth a big effort, but I think she's still working her way back.
I think we can say the same about She's Got It All. That was a confidence boosting win. She won where she was supposed to, and Dougie never fretted at all. He just glided up, and she was really good in 51-4. She's got the class to beat these, and she won't be worried about the hike up at all.
No, and Lions Better Day, we know that when she gets a trip, she can be competitive, but consistency's been a little bit of an issue as of late. But to your point, where She's Got It All, I think that's exactly what she needed, and maybe she can climb her way back up the class ladder now.
All right, over to race number 8 we go as we continue on this Friday card. Field of 7 now down to 6 with a Legend scratching sick out of this contest. It's a numbers at 9,000 in the last 5. Lane side in control in a bit of a different classification here, but she comes in riding some great form. Back-to-back wins. Certainly wouldn't mind her in here. I think she's built for this kind of a spot. What about the new Cullen trainee, Santa Fe's Appetite?
Yeah, one that I'm intrigued to watch.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime, you get new horses kind of coming into the Cullen barn, I think it's one to monitor. Obviously, just a couple of weeks. I haven't liked what I've seen over the last couple of efforts, but this is a mare that loves to do her work late in the mile, but just hasn't been a huge win candidate this year. But I think she's been I think she's put forth some solid efforts. But I think we're going to see some good speed late in the mile, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get the job done this evening.
Yeah, we are going to get to see Absolution from the most recent start for her, where she ended up being 3rd behind lane side in control, who's going to be in this spot as well. So we get to kind of see her and her winning effort. So, although she's in a different classification, so are others in this spot. It's kind of similar for her. I'll tell you what, and you and I both know, because we follow Cocoa Puff Power a lot. And, she's been one that looks like she's going to win by 10, then she'll hit a wall. I thought that was one of her better efforts last week. I know she didn't win, but she didn't throw in the towel.
No, she didn't. She was chasing a mare who's razor sharp right now, and you could tell how sharp she is because Doug McNair is going to book off Cause I'm Special, who was also really good, to go with a mare right now that seems to be trending in the right direction. Cocoa Puff Power, she was kind of raced hard throughout that winter. And she was just kind of tiring late, but I think one that prefers a target to chase, and I think we've seen some good efforts with those kind of trips as well.
Yeah, no, that's lane setting control is really good right now. This is one that I know James, when he was driving her, too, he said, she's a good mare.
Yep.
Really good mare, and she's, big and strong. So this is one that could continue to kind of, climb the class ladder.
Yeah, and she definitely can. And the replay that we saw in Absolution, Chad, at times I just haven't really loved her appearance on track and what I've seen late in the mile from her. I think she's trending towards the right direction there with that 3rd place effort. And we've seen sneaky speed from her when she puts forth these kind of good efforts. Todd's gotten a little bit aggressive. He got the job done from the 8-hole when he was able to kind of throw a wrench into the race and aggressively handling her, and she was able to slip up the inside. maybe we see a similar approach tonight. So I'm curious to see what we're going to see from him.
Yeah, our own Joanne Cole's got a nice one here.
Yeah,
Where'd you go here?
I did go to, I went to Laneside in Control.
Yeah,
I just stuck with Dougie's decision there in a mare that's razor sharp.
Yeah, okay. Race number 9 is the Fillies and Mares Preferred Pace. We've got a field of a half dozen, but a lot of talent in here. We've got Caviar Crackers back to work. She puts her 6-race win streak on the line. Now, she hasn't raced since May the 30th, that Forest City, pace victory. I almost wonder if she's going to need one, because I would think the Hensleys, they do such a great job. They do a great job taking care of their horses, as well. And I would think that they probably said, listen, she's been racing so well for us. She's deserving of having some downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's been racing every week and racing against tough company and doing it, winning in a big way too. Going to the half, we were curious to see how she's going to handle it. She handled it with flying colors. Now, Odds on Platinum did, jump it off on that opening turn, but still, take no credit away from Caviar and Crackers. A really, really strong performance there. And I think if you talk to them as well, I think they're even surprised how consistent of a threat she is at this level. I don't think they knew they were getting a constant preferred, mare here or a staple in this class.
And although, depending on how much they've ramped it up with her coming back in the last couple of weeks, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't anything all that taxing. She's just so confident.
Yeah.
So I won't be surprised if she extends the streak again, but, there'll be some that probably say, I'm going to just kind of take a shot on some others. Odds on Platinum, they get to rematch in here. She and Blue Pacific are both coming out of the Roses of Red final, part of that big card last Saturday on the NA Cup program, one where Twinbee Joe Fresh was just,
Lights
her
out.
usual machine.
Just an incredible performance.
Sylvie Hanover, that race great
Really
along
good.
the inside. Nice to see her leave again and then offering up some pace on the end of it. But Blue Pacific, was there something you saw with her that you thought maybe, this is better than she's been?
Yeah, this is the most kind of interest late I've seen from her in quite some time. And Dave Maneri did make a bridle change last time out, and I think she responded really well to it. You could see Doug McNair on the inside here with Blue Pacific. Nobody's getting to Twinbee Joe Fresh, but Odds on Platinum, she did work out a second over trip. She was kind of gapping cover a little bit, and you could see her. She's still pacing well on the end of it, but there was a couple others moving better. Doug McNair in between rivals there. Just right after the wire, you could see him turning her head.
Yeah.
She looks like she had a lot of interest in that effort, and one that looked like one that was a staple here at the preferred level in the Fillies and Mares division until her stablemate kind of started taking over that reign. But I think Blue Pacific, I labeled her in my back on track play this evening, Chad. I think she could be sitting on a big effort, and I think there's a lot to like off that effort in the Roses Are Red final as well.
Yeah, maybe she's back to get on track. Because at one
absolutely.
time she was talked about as being the top one here when she was reeling off all those wins.
But all those wins, but then you take on tougher company. I think there's just a group. Listen, anytime you're facing the likes of Twinbee Joe Fresh, it's really tough, taking on those types of mares. But one that I think could get back on track here this evening and find herself in the winner's circle.
Yeah, end of the day, she's been a nice buy for Sealster Farms,
Very
and
nice.
she's eventually going to go to what they bought her for anyway, and that's to be a broodmare.
Yeah, and she always showed the talent. She was taking on some tough ones as well, but she always showed the talent early on, and she's really starting to putting it together as an aged mare here.
How about your early pick 5? Let's have a look here and see what you've mapped out. Got to think you got some singles.
Yes, I'm going to
there you
start
go, right
off
the bat.
single. I'm going to go all in on Dirty Diana.
Dirty Diana.
I just
9-2 right now.
You know what? I think this is a really good class for her. I thought she would take more support than this, though, but I like the draw that she works with. I think right now this is an overlay. I'm going to go all in on the rider. I think that was a good effort, good draw, and James McDonald aboard. I think it's go time.
She gets to drop. We didn't get to see the improvement second start back because of the interference break, last time. So, I think there is a lot to like here with Dirty Diana, and then you're all in on the rider.
Yeah, it's going to be my all-in play this evening. I think one that I have no issue singling from post 6, but we touched on Style for a Mile, Chad, in leg 3. I'm not going to use her. If she beats me, she beats me, but I'm going to go Miss Chantilly and Job Hunter. How good has she been, Job Hunter?
I know. She's been a nice buy for Willis and Takur. I do want to talk about the last leg, because this is the OSS Gold. We feel it's competitive. Are you just saying, you know what, Mona Lee's still going to get that? I'm just going to play against her.
It's kind of my thinking as well.
Yep.
I mean, I think I still have a lot of logical contenders. There are horses that can maybe even pull off an upset, but just one that I'm going to just kind of opt to leave off my ticket, and if she beats me, she beats me tonight. I know she can, but so be
She's
it.
probably still the favorite again.
She
right?
still will be,
especially with her draw in relation to others. Yeah. Okay. Kevin Plaucha, who I understand you're probably going to be chatting with a bit tonight.
Will be,
which is nice.
And he took over the DRF duties for me over the last few days. Have some other stuff to take care of. So nice of him to kind of step in here, and he submitted a pick 5 here as well with 2 singles too.
Yeah, so he's got the same single as you in race number 2, but a different approach because he's all in the final leg on Roxy Hart. I like him taking a stand there, but where you single Dirty Diana, he loads up right off the bat.
I like that. Listen, if you're going to kind of single a horse that you know can kind of extract some value, you don't have to go so thin in some other legs, right? I mean, this is a race that could result in an upset, and he's going to hope for a price in this opening leg and then hope that his singles, or he can get to a single, I should say.
Yeah, very similar thoughts other than the odd leg there where you guys have extreme differences in what you do. Whereas, again, you're taking a stand, he's going a bunch, and then he's doing the opposite in race number 5. So those are the early pick 5s. I was already kind of teeing up Saturday, maybe just excited because anytime that we can unveil that, reigning horse of the year, Chantilly, is racing, we just love it, right? We absolutely do, and it was unfortunate that she wasn't here last week to give James McDonald an opportunity at going back-to-back in the Fan Hanover, but she'll be back tomorrow, expected to start in a field of 8 for that OSS Gold leg. She's got, post 3, I think it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, post 3, there she is. 1 to 5 morning line. Yeah.
She's going to get a lot of support, rightfully so, but if she does find herself in the winner's circle, I'm just curious to see how maybe if she feels any different tomorrow night versus maybe some of her efforts in the Fan Hanover elimination as well. I mean, I wonder if James kind of felt something in that elimination where maybe she wasn't herself. She certainly doesn't look. She didn't look short by any means, but James has sat behind her so many times, and she just always looks like...
I actually thought it was her best looking effort of the year.
Exactly.
I know it wasn't her fastest, but I thought it was her best looking.
Appearance-wise, she did look super, but curious to see sometimes... they've all been so good, we're so accustomed to it, so maybe in James's... maybe in the lines, or maybe in James's eyes or mine, maybe she was a little bit short, but I'm curious to find out tomorrow if she does find the winner's circle and hear his thoughts.
Have you chatted to Nick at all?
Yeah, she said all systems go. She says that she's progressively getting better, but something that he's going to have to monitor throughout the year, but one that says she's been getting better each and every day, and it's going to be all systems go tomorrow.
Okay, late scratch here in race number 3, the 5 Sports Duchess, scratch lane. So race 3, the 5 Sports Duchess is a scratch lane. There it is with the update. That's to start the pick 4, so the outside 3. It helps Miss Chantilly a bit,
absolutely,
at least, right?
Yep.
One less to worry about in traffic, and she'll start a bit closer on the gate. Tomorrow, we've got, you know what? You want to come on out for some pancakes and some other gatherings? Why not? The new railside deck out on the tarmac there starts at 9:30. Busy morning for the breakfast with the babies. Come on out and check out the stars tomorrow. We had a busy morning this morning. I watched the great coverage on Primetime Racing, 12.
Yep.
That they had this morning for the fillies, but tomorrow some colts and some that have looked pretty darn good.
Oh, big time. I mean, the one that Doc Moore sat behind as well, I think.
Well, he had a couple. There was one that went down the road that went fast. And he had another one that paced like a back half, like 53 and change.
He's got a couple to. One of them was a cattle wash, I believe, too.
I think Doc's looking to start his driving career.
Yeah. He looks pretty good.
Reignite it. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Hasn't lifted a line in those qualifying efforts too. He's just been flying.
Yeah. Today was Doc had some nice looking fillies today. Greg McNair had some nice looking horses out there as well. I know Tony Beaton was very busy. Tony's going to be busy again tomorrow. The ones that we haven't seen out just yet, Luke Blay.
Okay.
And he's generally like kind of the third week. But yeah, looking for. Are you coming out tomorrow morning?
You know what? Once you say free pancakes, it might sway my decision out. I mean, I'll come for the. I'm not even going to come for the qualifiers. Mostly for the free pancakes.
Yeah, I'm not going to be here, but if you could put some bacon and pancakes aside for me,
I'll throw some in the booth upstairs. I'll save it for you.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. And next week, there's no rest for us. Okay, because we are going full tilt. 5 days a week. Generally, we're started, kind of right when we get into June. We like this move because it allows the 2-year-olds to kind of get qualified. We'll see more and more of these rookies racing, but our first Tuesday of the season is next week on the 24th. 10 dashes, a lot of grassroots.
I like the card. Yeah, a lot of grassroots, like you said.
Typically, those Tuesdays do have a lot of grassroots, right?
I'm just still waiting for the full slate of 2-year-olds. I know we've gotten a taste last night, getting 2 races, 2 2-year-old races. We got to see one on an overnight last week, but I think maybe Thursday we could see a little bit more.
Well, Thursday, Friday we got the Tompkins Gears,
so we're gonna
So we're going to see some divisions for the fillies on the Thursday and then the colts on Friday.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. And then, I think when we get into early July, you start getting the golds. and grassroots,
it really comes
for all
quick.
those 2 years. Yeah, exactly. And it's just fun. Then we'll get into the Grand Circuit for those as well. Blake McIntosh had a sharp 2-year-old winner at Yonkers last night.
Quick away, I believe.
50. Well, he blitzed this oval, and then I think he won easy in 55 in a piece.
Super easy as it gets. So nice. I mean, that's expected from him. He always sends out horses that are, especially youngsters, that are ready to go.
And ready. It's his bread and butter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Developing the youngsters. He's done a really nice job coming off that career year. So
I'm surprised you got a Habs fan to sit behind the horse too.
yeah, there you go, right? Yeah, exactly. The plays of the night for John Rollis with his 4 that he's got. Take us through them here, Johnny.
All right, we are going to go. Don't know what we're going to start off with. All right, All In on the rider. I touched on that. That one I think is going to be sitting on a big effort here. Worth a look. I love that effort from Miss Chantilly last time out. I think that that one could be a nice value player in exotics. Spot play, One Last Wish. Now with the scratch as well, I think she's going to benefit from that in that race, and I expect her to be going forward, or at least I hope so. And back on track, Blue Pacific, Chad. I think obviously some stale dates on some mares and some other ones that might be a little bit vulnerable. I think she might be peaking at the right time again.
Yeah, the Hall of Famer, he's got his 4-pack in there as well. Roxy Hart, one that he's liking in that gold. How about the music we're getting here?
I know.
Hey?
It's top notch.
Producer Luke on the violin. Hey?
Multifaceted. Multifaceted.
All those years of strings in school really paid off for him. Yeah. Anyways, so there's Randy and some other of the handicappers. All the best with your handicapping. It plays here on this Friday 10-pack. It's underway in a few minutes. Appreciate you hanging out again, buddy.
Appreciate you
good luck down here. Yeah. And I'm going to head upstairs and call the action. John's got you covered here, along with some special guests along the way.